1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, testing. Huh. Why is that? Okay, we got no. Let's see if we got a. Why that's happening. I can't seem to. Okay. 1, 2, 3, testing. That should be better now. I believe you all can hear now. So can you hear? Let me know if you can hear me out there on YouTube and Facebook. Can anybody hear that? Donnie, can someone tell me if you can hear us? Let me check my phone here and see. It does show that we are on our mic, but let me just make sure here. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, we're ready to go. Yeah, we're all set. We can all hear. Go ahead, Amory. Come on back. Sorry, folks, for the problems with the audio here, but they just revamped my computer screen here with a new platform, upgraded it, and didn't tell me. So the sound is now on. So you're all set. You're all set, Amory.
Thank you so much, and thank you, dear sister, for letting us know. We didn't know. I'm only on the phone. I didn't know it wasn't coming through on YouTube. So again, I was hoping that we could talk about the theme of looking back on your life in Watchtower. Most of us were believing in the Watchtower, loyal to the Watchtower, serving the Watchtower without question, believing whatever we were told was the truth. Because if Watchtower said it was the truth, it was the truth, because that's what our Watchtower programming did for us. But we didn't realize that we'd still be here. I mean, a lot of us that grew up in the 60s and 70s and 80s, we didn't know we'd still be here. Even if we grew up in the 90s, we weren't supposed to be here, because as far back as I can remember, Armageddon so close, Armageddon just around the corner, Armageddon could come at any time. You don't have time to mess up. And then there's the Armageddon dates, and maybe just a few more months, maybe a year, Armageddon will be here. Better be in the pioneer work, quit school. So, I don't know if you guys are old enough, but however age you were, if you're listening, you most likely are able to look back on your time in the Watchtower and realize that if you had done things differently with your life, not that you don't love God, but if you could have done things differently with your life, taken education seriously, gotten yourself to college, taken job training, gotten a career, your life would have been better. Because it's a sad thing when you're pushed from very young, go out in service, put Jehovah first. Everything is put Jehovah first, which really translates to putting the Watchtower organization first. Whatever they tell you, you do that. Go serve Bethel, be a pioneer, go where the need is great. And before you know it, 20, 30 years have passed by, and you're old, you're sick, you have arthritis, you have back problems, maybe you're diabetic, maybe you have heart problems, and you just don't have the strength anymore to do what you could have done. And it's a shame, because literally, Watchtower steals your youth. Anybody want to comment? Sometimes I just start really thinking about it. Anybody want to comment on life?
I'll just kind of be the icebreaker here, Anne Marie. Talking about this man Frank earlier, that's coming on our program tonight on JW World News. He sounds just like Elvis Presley when he sings, and he was saying today he's going to tell his story, and he's a great guitar player and singer. And he's going to tell a story tonight on our JW World News. But what I wanted to say about him is he was telling me today that when he was a young Jehovah's Witness boy, he was kind of discouraged from playing music. Now, how sick can an organization be to kind of discourage someone who wants to pursue the arts? Music is an art, and it's a skill. And for the Watchtower to be so dogmatic and so outspoken on the fact that, well, entertainment world is bad and you don't want to really pursue something like that. And this man has a lot of talent, but there's a man right there. His life might have been even different. He went on, he's done pretty good as a musician, but there's plenty of musicians and entertainers that were Jehovah's Witnesses that really couldn't pursue the career they wanted. And when you're not encouraged, when you have an organization that's not behind you and encouraging you, it's kind of hard going solo. It's kind of hard pursuing your dreams and your ambitions without someone patting you on the back and saying, "Go for it, Anne-Marie. Go for it, Rick." I mean, it is. You need some cheerleaders, and the Watchtower Anne-Marie has never been a cheerleader in helping anyone progress along in life.
No. You know what's really sad is during the 70s and early 80s, my brother, I remember they frowned upon women working. The Watchtower was very strict. They felt that a woman's place was in the home, doing a housework, doing the cooking and the laundry, taking care of the children, making her husband look good, and the only work that she should be doing is going out in the door-to-door ministry. If she had to have a job, and usually her husband got talked into it, got talked to about his wife working one moment.
Hey, Anne-Marie.
But back then, it seemed the only job that sisters were allowed to do without getting in trouble were menial servant-like jobs, either house cleaning or they were allowed to babysit. They weren't allowed to get any training or to get an education. And that's really, really ridiculous. And I don't know about others, but when I worked, I would get chastised a lot. You should be on welfare. Yes, who's this?
Hi, this is Nicole, but I go by the name of Grow now.
Okay, what do you want? Don't confuse me. I get confused. What name do you want to be known as today?
So you can call me Grow.
Grow?
Yes.
Grow? Grow?
Yes.
I gotcha. What's on your mind, Grow?
So I have to agree with what you're saying with regards to persons who were part of the organization, things that they regret not doing because of the organization. And for myself, when I became a witness as a teenager. And I wanted to continue my schooling. So I wanted to be an electrical engineering. So I wanted to get into electrical engineering. And at the time I was regular pioneering. And they chastised me so much for that, so much as a regular pioneer, that I had to drop out of school even before I graduated. And I dropped out of school about 6 months before I graduated. So I never was able to fulfill that dream of mine. And another thing too is that I wanted to work full time, because how can you take care of yourself with part-time money? And
exactly.
They gave me a lot of flack for that. A lot of flack. I was disciplined for it. I was told that I would be removed from being a pioneer if I were to go into full-time work, because I'm not giving.
I say that I never told you. Oh, it's just so hard. I'm sorry. I don't know if you.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I understand. Yeah. So it was not easy, and I know it hasn't been easy for a lot of former witnesses who gave up so much for the organization, only to wake up and realize that they gave all these things up for nothing, for absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
All we can do is just look back and be full of regret for this hateful religion. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Oh God, do you mind telling me, like, from what age were you, like, did you grow up in the organization?
No, I did not grow up in the organization. I was Catholic, and a school friend of mine was the one who got me involved in the organization, and I came from a divided family, and so I was looking for family, and I felt that I was told actually that Jehovah's Witnesses can, unite my family, and that was one of the main reasons why I became a witness, because they said that they bring families together, they united families. And so I said, okay, well, the Catholic Church didn't really do it for my family because everyone left except for me. And so I became a witness with the hopes that my family would eventually start studying and become, a Jehovah's Witness as well. But that never happened. Also, they promised everlasting life on paradise. They promised that. And I was always very fearful of hell. I didn't want to go to hell in case I died a sinner, not a sinner, but as someone against God. I didn't want to go to hell. And they were promising soul sleep. In other words, if you die alienated from God, you're just dead, but you have the hope of living forever in paradise on earth. That is what, also interested me in the religion. And then as years went by with me being in this religion, I was still not happy. None of my family ever followed me into this religion. After 20, 30 years, nobody came in. My family has still been divided. And then, I just look back and I told myself, if I had never accepted a Bible study with the hopes of uniting my family, and if I had the tools to do proper research into this religion, where it started, because when you study the Bible with them, when you study the book, they don't tell you how they got started in detail. They don't tell you these things. It's only after you've baptized, then you get to learn all these other things that, you didn't know. And I didn't know until, after I got baptized. And then once I got baptized, I told myself, well, that's the decision I made, so I guess I'm stuck. As a teenager, that's what I told myself. And then, as I said, as the years went by and I look back on my life, many people would say this, if not everyone, if I could change just one thing in my life, is I would have turned my ears off to this girl at school. I would not have listened to her. I would have stuck with where I was, and I think I would have been a lot happier. I would have had a career that I loved. I would have had, even if my family was not united, at least I would have still have my family. I mean, I still have them, but through the years, there was a lot of back and forth and strife with me being in this religion that we just did not like. And yeah, that caused a lot of pain as well.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy for me in this religion. I mean, some of the things that I hear people have gone through, I have not gone through those things, but everybody's pain is their own, Everybody has their own pain. I have been in a judicial committee so many times, no fault of my own. So many times I've been brought in a committee. So, and that creates a lot of anxiety and a lot of doubting yourself, making you think, did I really do something wrong? You know what I mean? And that it wasn't a good feeling for me. It wasn't a good time for me in the religion. And yeah, every time I look back, I always regret, and I always tell myself just one thing: if I had not listened to that friend of mine and be gung-ho on wanting to unite my family with this religion, I would not have been part of this religion.
No, there's a saying by one pastor to remember the 3 Ds of our enemy. The 3 Ds are: the devil loves to deceive, The devil loves to divide us, divide families, divide friends, divide marriage mates. And the third thing he loves to do, the third D, is destroy. And that's what he has been doing. And it's unfortunate that when you look back and look at the big picture of what Watchtower has done, how they have affected so many hundreds of thousands of people's lives, torn apart friendships that were deep, torn apart marriages, and especially torn apart the relationship between children and their parents, even grandparents, for no other reason than you fell out of approval for whatever reason, because you're not allowed to think for yourself. They don't want you to get an education. They don't want you to disagree with them. You must believe what you're told to believe, obey without question, serve without question, and most of all, number one rule in the Watchtower, as with any cult, you are always to be loyal no matter what. Loyalty to the party is the number one thing. But as the kids growing up in Watchtower with Armageddon hanging over our head all the time, I'm just wondering, is there anything that, Nicole Grove, that you can think of that you realized you sacrificed, you gave up, you lost out on because you were trying to be a good Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah. There was this guy in my school. I knew him from ever since I was, before I was a teenager. And when I became a teenager, I realized that I liked this person. But then I became one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I couldn't do anything about it. Like, I couldn't start a relationship with him when I got older. And what I missed out on is probably getting married to someone that was not a witness, that I connected with when I was a teenager and into my early 20s. I connected with this individual. I could have had a really good life with this individual. I could have had children with this individual because of being a witness. You can't find, it's very hard sometimes for you to find someone that you connect with in the religion.
Right.
Especially if you come from a small community. How are you going to connect? If there's someone who hasn't caught your eye, how are you going to connect? And so my 20s went by, my 30s went by, my 40s went by, and I was like, okay, I am getting past the prime, as they call it, the prime of my youth or whatever, and I'm getting past the time for me to have children because I haven't found a husband. And then when I did find a husband in my 30s, my late 30s, no children came along. No children came along because I was at that time of my life. For me, as with some members of my family, we go into menopause early. And so that time of my life came, and so there's no children. Whereas had I disobeyed the organization,
I'm hearing you,
and marry someone or get into a relationship with someone outside the organization, get married to this person and have my children, I would have been happier because one of the roles that God has given to a woman is to have children and be happy. Now, I'm not saying that is for everyone. Not everyone wants to have children, but the majority of us in this religion, when we don't find someone that we connect with and get married to this person and carry on our progeny, then guess what? We end up having no family, no children, depressed, angry, upset, hating everyone, hating the religion, hating our life. But for me, I have found peace. So I don't hate myself. I hate the religion. I will always hate this religion. I don't hate the people in the religion, not everyone, because many people are innocent. They don't know. They were asleep as I once was, but I have found peace. So it's not something that, I carry a serious grudge for. You know what I mean? But yeah, those are some of the things, some of the things that I could tell you that I've looked back on with regret with this religion.
I'm totally understandable. Nicole Grow. You
Fine. You can call me Nicole, that's fine.
Well, I'll call you both if it's okay. A lot of people change their names on me, and I'm bad enough with names. But you light on what was done to us. They come across as so kind, and this religion is the answer to all your problems that you're having in the world. And this is a spiritual paradise, and you'll find the right man, and Jehovah will bless you. And just, it's lies. But the reality is, when things don't work out, it's sad, and I feel so bad for you. But on the other hand, I see you being mature, and you don't like it, and it's sad, and you regret it, but you accept it. It is what it is. It was what it was, and you're at where you're at, and you're dealing with it. And I have to say, I applaud you and admire you, because I'm one of those women that I could not have. I don't think I could have survived without having my children. Mm-hmm. And I feel for anyone that wanted children and didn't get to have them. I feel like I cheated, but I was absolutely flat out determined. And wow.
Good for you. When they told me that I couldn't have a full-time job, that I needed to have a part-time job, they found a job for me, a part-time job, cleaning banks. And I was told that this is where Jehovah wanted me to be. Cleaning banks and having my pioneer service as a career. So that was my career as a pioneer. And my job where Jehovah wanted me to be is a part-time worker cleaning banks for less than $300.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry you went through that. And they never talk about what's going to happen to you and you can't work anymore. Are we still there? Did we get cut off?
We're still here. I got cut off because I just received a call, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it's not me. But I feel for you because, I'm realizing that your peak, let's say in your life, your peak on top, when you're not sick, when you're able to go, your mind is sharper, that's your 20s and your 30s and your 40s. And, as you're hitting close to 50, you're still go, but you're starting to really go downhill. It's like a roller coaster. You go up, and you're up there for a while, but, then you come crashing down. And it just seems from the get-go, Watchtower and other cults do this too. They want to get as much out of you. They want your obedience, your slave labor, your unquestioning loyalty. They want you to bring in new recruits, and they want you to just keep working and keep bringing them in and keep being loyal. And it's always about your free labor, obedience, and give them the money. And they want you to sacrifice everything of the right husband, having children, the right career. If you love music, or you always wanted to ride horses, or you always wanted to sing, or you wanted to be a lawyer or a teacher, we were all born with different talents and aspirations. And we were never really allowed to pursue that, because if we said anything, it was always, well, is that really putting Jehovah first? Well, you'll have plenty of time to do that in the new system. Meanwhile, you wake up one day and you're 60 and 70 and 80 years old, and you don't have your children that you wanted. I'm sorry. Horrible.
Oh, not sorry.
Well, how are things going for you today, Nicole?
It's not all right, but I'm dealing with it. Today, things are going good. Not as great as I would like it to be, but it's going good because then I'm exploring hobbies that
Ooh.
I didn't have the time for when I was younger. Yeah. I'm also learning a couple new languages, which is good, especially for my job.
Wow.
So the job that I have, it allows me to learn the official 2 languages of Canada.
Oh, wow.
And I'm also learning other languages as well. Yeah. So things are okay.
Aww. Are you going to be able to make it to the convention? Maybe.
Well, I sent Rick an email.
I know.
Yes, I would love to. We'll be able to. If I am going to make it, I am going to be driving down.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be a long drive for me. So I wouldn't be there for the Friday, but maybe the Saturday and the Sunday.
Oh, if you could, that would be a lot. That would be awesome. We could meet you.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah, it would. Is there anything you'd like to add, Nicole Grove?
Yeah. I'd like to add that I do know that there are a lot of witnesses who watch this program, and a lot of young witnesses as well who've been watching this program for quite a while. I personally know of some of them who do, but they keep themselves quiet. So don't fall into that trap.
Oh, yeah. I like
Programs like this online.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're watching this, you're watching the programs, it's because you have woken up, or you're in the process of being fully awake. Do not throw away your life on this religion. Don't throw away your life. If you have lots of family in the organization, you are in a tough spot, but think seriously about it, because in the next 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to regret it if you continue on the same path that you're on with the organization. Think very seriously about the decisions you're making now, because it will affect your future in a huge way. That's
Absolutely. Well, you know, that says a lot. The thing is, we don't realize when it was pounded into our heads, even when I was a kid, you know, how many days have they had for Armageddon? So it was always this sense of urgency, always keeping us on high alert. Oh, you don't have time for this. You don't have time for that. I was a kid when they came out with the May 22nd, 1969 Awake. And in there was an article saying that young people in the organization have to face the fact. We had to face the fact. I'm 14 years old. That you will never be able to complete school. You'll never go to college. You're never going to have a career. You know, you'll never grow old in this system. You'll never have time to have a family. And so I'm thinking, what's the point? I'm going to die. I'm going to die either way. I had no sense of future. And it's a shame. And to think that when 1975 finally came, then they weren't even really talking about it. Like they were trying to get our mind off the fact that they had been shoving it down our throats for 9 years.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And, a lot of people left. I left. Well, actually, I was coming back at that time. But, you know, it's so stupid. They stole our lives, our careers, marriage mates we could have had. And for you, they stole the children you should have had. And Nicole, I'm so mad. I'm mad for you.
Yeah, well, don't be mad for me. Don't be mad for me. Be mad for the ones who are stuck in there and haven't made that decision yet. My time has passed.
Okay, we're going to go to the brother that wants to talk. Nicole, thank you so very much. Brother, go ahead.
You're welcome.
This is just Stephen, and I didn't want Nicole to hang up. I just wanted to tell her that I really enjoyed her words and how true they were.
Oh, thank you, Stefan.
And this is why it's so important that I make this. You know, we used to, when we were at Joe's Witnesses, we were always taught we can't miss meetings, can't miss meetings. I wouldn't miss 6 screens for anything in the world. And there's been a few where I've just listened. I haven't been able to participate because I was doing other things. But this is the reason, because the only people, in my opinion, that understand what we have lost, that Anne Marie is talking about on tonight's thing, the only people that understand that are people who are former members of cults, whether it's Jehovah's Witnesses cult or some other cult. Those are the only people that understand this. There's a lot of psychologists, as we know, who don't even understand this. So, and yet we can come here and we'll hear example after example, and we know exactly, you know, what the person's talking about. We can feel your pain. I feel your pain. I've never met you. I don't know who you are, but I feel your pain. I can almost say I know exactly how you feel, save for, you know, having children, because I'm a male. I lost 2 sets of children. I got married as an ex of Jehovah's Witness to another Jehovah's Witness. That wife decided at whatever point she didn't want to be a witness. Eventually the kids sided with her, and 2 boys. Never heard from them again. That's been probably 20 years ago. Got married again to a witness, and then I woke up. And that was kind of the end of that marriage. And the funny thing is, when I got married, the sister that I married already had a son. And then we had a set of daughters together that I don't have that great of a relationship with. But the funny thing is, her son was my but I don't believe in that, but technically he would be my stepson. Never wanted to be a Jehovah's Witness. Never. He told me when he was about 10 or 11, like, yeah, this is not for me. And you know, out of the sets of children that I've had, he is the only one that keeps in contact with me. I hear from him at least once a week, once every other week. And he's the one who never wanted to be a Jehovah's Witness. Now, that speaks volumes in and of itself. But going back to the point, yeah, we've lost everything in this organization. My uncle, my father was the oldest of 8. When he retired, he was the senior patent attorney for Procter & Gamble, Fortune 500 company, which was huge. The senior, the top dog. He had 2 daughters. Both of his daughters are attorneys. I have another uncle who was also an attorney. His daughter, which is my first cousin, is an attorney who's actually right now in preparation to become a judge in Georgia. So these are the kinds of people that I've had in my family. But instead of being able to take opportunities that were afforded to me by them, you know, I chose to be a Jehovah's Witness along with my, you know, mom. My dad was a Jehovah's Witness for all of 5 seconds. And so I just sit back and look at all the things that I missed out on. When I was in high school, I had a big crush on a girl named Katrina, and she went on to be a tennis great. In fact, we'd say in Illinois, we say that before there was Venus and Serena, there was Katrina. In fact, she was even made the ambassador for the United States by Barack Obama for tennis. Oh wow! This is the level, and we had a huge crush on each other in high school. But of course, I couldn't move on that because I was a witness. And so, yeah, it's like Rose said, there's so many opportunities that we allowed ourselves not to take advantage of because of this cult. And so hopefully those people that you mentioned that are listening, hopefully they're listening to this. As you notice, we are not bashing the organization. We are telling you from the bottom of our hearts that we missed out on living our life because we listened to this cult, and now we're all paying for it. And you should be able to look, as you go to these meetings, for you active witnesses, look around you. If you're if you're a teenager, if you're a 20-year-old, look around you at the older Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't have any money. And if they have money, it's the minority. They are barely making it. When you talk to them, their whole conversation is about barely making it. And just ask yourself if this is all you want for your life. Just dragging yourself to meeting after meeting, hearing information today that tomorrow they'll be telling you that they are changing and they got some new light and all the rest of that. And just and wind up at the end of your days with nothing. Not married, if you get married, no children, go to Bethel for 10, 20, 30 years only to be kicked out with not a dime in your pocket. Ask yourself if this is the life that you want for yourself. And if not, then do what you can to get out of this cult as fast as you can and go and live your life. Live it with moderation. Don't go out there getting involved with drugs and having sex with everybody. No, have some moderation. Know that there's good people out there. Know that there's all kinds of services that you can take advantage of. You can go on YouTube and learn just about anything that you want to learn. You can always call Six Screens and you can connect with people, and they'll be glad to help you. But whatever you do, please get out of this cult. Don't be like us and waste your life in this cult. Thanks, Emery.
Well said. Well said. Yes, well said. Because you know what? They always think, well, if I'll just wait a little longer, things will get better, or I'll fade slowly. Every day, I'm sorry to say, every day you spend trying to please the cult and the people who believe in the cult is another day of life that you have stolen from yourself, that you will never get back. Never.
That's exactly right.
Why try?
Nicole mentioned something that jogged my memory. I forgot to mention. There was a sister, before I woke up, there was a sister, and she originally was from one of the islands, I forget which, and she had come to the United States to work on her medical degree. And the point that I'm making is they harassed her. This was at an ex-buddy of mine's, Kinneball. And he would tell me how the witnesses would just harass this sister because she was in medical school. They just always had something to say. They give comments about, are we fully, and are we investing in this system? And, or are we really giving ourselves to Jehovah and all the rest of that? I don't know if she stopped her pursuit for a medical degree, but I really hope that she didn't, because as you can see, there is no Armageddon that's coming, that's right around the corner. If you want to practice medicine, go and practice medicine, because we need doctors. I can tell you right now, I had an abscess. I had to wait 2 weeks to go see a dentist. You want to know why? Because there's not enough. So we need more doctors and dentists, and if that's what you want to do with your life, please go and do it. Please don't listen to these Jehovah's Witnesses to tell you that you're just rearranging seats on the Titanic. The only Titanic is this organization. This system is going to be here. If you want to study medicine or whatever it is, please go do it.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true.
Hello, everyone. Maverick here.
Hello, Margaret.
Hi. Hi, Matt. Hi. Enjoying everyone's comments. It was powerful. It's very powerful contributions you both made tonight. And I just want to say as well that anybody, as you both were talking about this subject, I'm in my seat going like, yes, because the amount of times it's like people's life experience is kind of explained away. Oh, you could have done this, you could have done that. Why didn't you do this? I have family members who actually still kind of minimize the impact. Close family members who minimize the impact that this religion has had on my life, right? So here we go. When we talk about our experiences, these are real experiences, And it's nice to be in a place where people validate each other rather than saying, well, you could have done this. Well, why didn't you try that? Oh, don't tell me you didn't. You couldn't have done that. You could have done this and you could have done that. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Doesn't work with Watchtower, because if you're told that you have 1 week to live, I always use this illustration, but if you're told you've got 1 week to live, you will make decisions based on that information. If you had a magic elixir of life that says you're going to live for 1,000 years now, and you drink that, you know you're guaranteed 1,000 years, you'll make different decisions. Now, Watchtower made us believe that we had the future was guaranteed as long as we put ourselves in a position of them being the idol. We do as you're told. Don't ask questions. Do as you're told. And then you'll have the reward at the end. But then that's not even in the Bible. And this is not really even about a faith thing. It's the fact that they subverted people's faith. So now, as you both said, go out and live your lives. But that doesn't mean you can't have a faith if you want to have a faith. If you want to have your faith, it has no relationship to. And this is the mix-up that Watchtower does. What it does, it makes you feel like have to make a choice between a balanced life where you're looking after yourself and your family, and having a faith if you want to have a faith, or no. Their idea is basically you have to be in the organization and you've got to do exactly what the expectations of the governing body. And they make you feel like there's only two choices. One, sacrifice this life, completely sacrifice this life. And I can really relate to what you both said about career choices. I was very talented in so many different things, and and I never really got to express everything that I wanted to do, because there's not enough time in the day, and life continues to go forward. But why am I saying all this? Basically, is because you can be very frustrated. Thing that frustrates me the most, but I'll end it here, is when people tell you you could have done this, that, and the other differently. Why didn't you? Why didn't you? It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Because it's like saying, okay, well now you've got the path behind you to smooth out, and they don't ask you what your emotional well-being was 20 years ago, or the 10 years of depression that you might have had because somebody made you, you're dealing with complete narcissist environment where, anyway, I'm going to rant now. I'm in a kind of ranty mood tonight, so be prepared, everyone. Yeah.
That was good. Thank you.
That's all right. Anne-Marie, have we lost Anne-Marie?
Well, I think it's really important to, not all the time, but I think it's important to take the time to reflect on really how much you really did have stolen from your life, how you were manipulated to somehow think that your talents and your desires and your, wanting to do this or be that, maybe you wanted to travel the world, maybe you wanted to live in Egypt for a while. I don't know, but anything that we aspired to, that we deep in our gut kind of wanted to do this or at least try to do that, it was always one size fits all. Watchtower had a program, and your job was to conform and perform. Anything outside of that, no individuality really allowed, unless it was within the parameters, the very strict parameters that Watchtower laid out for us. But basically, we were all supposed to act the same, smile the same, believe the same, talk the same, dress the same, perform the same, obey the same. We were just drones. If we were good little program drones, then we were good Jehovah's Witnesses. Go ahead.
Anne-Marie, that sounds like a new Kingdom Melodies that you're just singing for. That might work in their new edition of the Kingdom Melodies. Because it sounds exactly what you said. But here's the most patronizing thing as well, to add to what you just said. The patronizing part of it is that they gave us Scooby snacks. Like the current Scooby snack, and have a beard. Yeah? Have a Scooby snack, here you go. You can now have beards. Whoop-de-doo, I can have a beard. I already knew I could have a beard. But what I used to get really, really annoyed about being a witness and being in the community was, leave me the hell alone to live my life. If I come to the meeting, I'm at the meeting. If I'm not at the meeting, I'm not at the meeting. Why do you need to ask me where have I been?
I know, track you down.
Yeah, that used to get on my nerves. And then on top of it, you've got that part of it. And also, I never felt like I needed to explain myself to humans. If I was supposed to, when we were baptized, apparently, you're not baptized to an organization. You're baptized, your dedication is to Jehovah God. Oh, really? Well, then stay out of my business then. Stay out of my business. You know?
I'm hearing you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they trick
I
you
didn't like explaining myself. Sorry, I just didn't like explaining myself to other people. I didn't mind if I felt bad about something, I'd pray or something, you know. But I didn't like explaining myself to other people, and that used to grate on people because they used to, especially some of the elders in my congregation, they used to like to feel like they were in your business. And one elder particularly, who was like say the Bill Clinton of our congregation, that like charisma and he could do what he wants and say what he wants and get away with murder. He was particularly annoying, and I actually challenged him a few times. He used to get on my nerves a lot. So I had that kind of friction with him because he thought he could just do what he wants and get away with it. So when I used to pull him up, he did not like me at all because I used to pull him up. Well, you've got one standard for us. I'd have to get pulled into the second school for stupid things. But when I pull you up now, you're not accountable because everybody likes you and so on. It was like that. But anyway, I told you I'm in a ranty mood, Anne-Marie. What's the ranty mood?
For me, it was different. For me, when I was told that the bank cleaning job is where Jehovah wanted me to be, and that's not where I wanted it to be, I was submissive. I was like, okay, I don't want to do anything to get Jehovah upset with me. I don't want to be disfellowshipped. I don't want to lose out on everlasting life. So for the first 10 years of my life as a witness, for the first 8 years of my life as a witness, I conformed to the instructions that they gave for persons who were regular pioneers. But when I stopped being a regular pioneer, then I started to do my own thing without them knowing and without me breaking any of their major laws. So I went back to school and I did a little bit of nursing. So I have a little bit of nursing experience. And then I did other things. And then I moved from that country to another country, which was even better because this other country is much bigger than my home country, which means I can lose myself in the organization. I can change congregations because I don't have a family who is a witness. I don't have any family who are witnesses. So they couldn't really track me as they did when I was in my home country, which is a much smaller community. They couldn't track me. So it was easier for me to move around. But once I got settled in a congregation, then the whole nonsense started back again with them dictating how you ought to be, why are you missing meetings and so on and stuff like that. At that time, I gained a little bit more confidence in my own voice. And
Good for you.
I would technically tell them, mind your own business, but in a nice way and in a way that wouldn't make them pull me into the coal room again and try to discipline me for, being insubordinate. And it worked well for me for quite a while. And then when I started waking up, I started waking up slowly. When things stand out and it doesn't add up, and then when things start changing and they change from this doctrine to another doctrine, and then of course the internet was a game changer for me. The internet was a game changer. And when I started doing my own little, research and so on, I would try my best not to go on quote unquote apostate sites, but I would go on general sites that would compare what one religion believe and what Jehovah's Witnesses believe. And that way I started waking up slowly. And then I had two good friends. One of them, she went to pioneer school with me, excellent woman. She started waking me up further. And then her spouse started interjecting as well. And you know, I'm very grateful to the two of them that opened my eyes completely. And once my eyes was completely open, I just walked away. They don't deserve to get a letter from me saying I'm no longer part of you. Eventually, I might send it if I choose to, but they don't deserve that. And yeah, and my life has been better since then. Better. But again, the regret will always be there. I will always look back to see the poor choices that I made that I thought were good choices with Jehovah's backing. Now I know they were foolish choices. Yeah, that's what I got to say.
Well, I say good for you. You have to have the feeling that you realize I choose to take control back. I choose to no longer look to a cult or cult leadership to tell me what I have to do, what I'm doing wrong, how I have to do this, how long to do it, and when to stop. Always, always, always being criticized, told if you're good enough, not good enough. You were good enough, now you're not. Oh, you're slipping. What's wrong with you? Where have you been? We missed you at the meeting. How do you ever find a way to relax when you're under a dictatorial tyrannical cult? Yes, please, go ahead.
Here's relax. That's the whole point. All of these cults do the same thing. I've heard of Scientology interviews, and that's one of the things they do. They book those people so many hours that they never can sit down and get off of that roller coaster, that hamster wheel.
Right.
And that's the same thing that Watchtower does, because they know if you ever get off the hamster wheel, maybe you take a breath, take a step back, maybe you have that let me analyze where I am in life moment, that you'll start to question and analyze things. So that's why that is absolutely by design. So that that's why we have all the meetings, study for all the meetings, read our literature, come to the meeting, get ready for the next meeting, get out in the service, and then spend the circuit assembly and the district. All of that is the busy work so that you never wake up. That's by design. That is by design. And there's something else that Nicole just dropped my memory on. And Anne-Marie, I'm sure you've been asked this. I know Rick has been asked this. And people will ask, why do we protest? Why do we oppose? Why do we come on this show, for example? And that's the reason, so that we can alert other people so they don't waste their life the same way we wasted our life and miss out on all these important things. Because I know so many sisters, and I feel terrible for the sisters. And as Nicole has attested, sisters get training in this organization. They are just abused in this organization. It doesn't matter if you're married, your husband could be beating your behind like, Ali versus Frazier. You go to the elders, it's your fault. They can't do enough, no matter what it is. They can tell you what to do. I've seen a sister get disfellowship because she was having, not an affair, she wasn't married, this gentleman wasn't married, but they liked each other. He wasn't a witness. She had been looking for a long time. Nature took his course. And so, she was reproved. And so they decided, you know what? We like each other. We're intimate. We want to be together. We're getting married. They just fellowshipped her because she married his brother. And I said to her, there is nothing in the Bible on that. I've never read anything about that. I don't believe that they can disfellowship you simply because you married someone who isn't a witness. But these elders feel so entitled that they can do whatever it is that they want to these sisters. So these sisters, every time I think about that, I just feel so bad for these sisters. They are just brutalized in this organization. And so many of them, can you imagine Anne-Marie? We're not going to get graphic, but we're all grown here, I believe, on this thing. Can you imagine being a Jehovah's Witness And now you're in your 50s and your 60s, and you've never even been intimate with the opposite sex because of Watchtower. Because you can't find a husband or a spiritual man. And you go your entire life never having even been touched by a woman, touched by me. That's one of a lot of witnesses. I'm sure if you go and ask somebody a long time, that's the lights who've been kicked out, as we all know. That's how I know a sister who was an extremely beautiful sister. No brother was good enough, and she's deceased now. And if she lived up to, Jehovah's Witness standards, she's never even been intimate. Who in their right mind would go their entire life without even just being intimate? My God. That's what it is in this organization. And it always goes on to you women. You women have been brutalized by this organization, and it's a damn shame.
It's just, there's a lot of quirky things that go on because there's no real feeling that you can just be in the organization, but use your own mind, make your own choices, use your own conscience, go which way that feels right for you. It's not really allowed. You don't feel freedom in any sense of the way. I mean, we couldn't even have not Fruit Loops, but Lucky Charms dry cereal. We couldn't eat Hershey bars. We couldn't, for a while, they were trying to tell us that it was wrong to drink coffee because it was addicted. It was like we were being drug addicts. It's just, it was like anything that we liked, that we chose, it was somehow going to be wrong.
Yeah. I remember those years, those teenage years, and I'm sorry to keep running my mouth, shut up here just a sec. But I remember in those teenage years, just like you said, constantly, some elder would pull me to the side. Oh, you said this. Oh, you did that. Oh, you blah, blah, blah. And you just wonder, and the only saving grace, and this is kind of my dad's fault, the only thing that probably kept me as a witness was the fact that my dad wasn't a witness, and everybody was scared of him. So when the elders would really start clamping down on me, I would say, you know what, not a problem. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get my dad. We can all sit down and have a, oh, no, you don't have to do that. That's okay. Forget about it. Just do it. I'm like, no. You keep, harassing me. You want to correct me? Let's go get my dad. And they would immediately, cower down and just basically allow me to do whatever it is that I was trying to do. Had it not been for that, I would have left this organization a long time ago. I don't know how people stand this. I don't know how people allow an organization, a group of people, to just micromanage their lives the way they used to always live. Especially, like I said, what they do to these poor sisters, it's just unbelievable what they do to these poor sisters. Yes, madam. My brother.
Yes, we're brothers across the pond, man.
We are.
But
I have a quick question though. With all these restrictions that are going on, where is the paradise in that? I mean, you can't eat Hershey bars, you can't drink coffee, you can't think for yourself, you can't marry who you want to marry, you can't touch your spouse a certain way, you can't do this, can't. There's nothing but a bunch of can'ts, and if it's all filled with can'ts, what are the do's? The only do's that I saw.
It's a philosophy. It's a philosophy that if you do all these things, you'll get everlasting life. You'll be able to see everyone wants to come back in the paradise and all of that. Once you buy into that philosophy that you do what we tell you to do, and you'll be able to live forever in paradise and run around with the pandas and the dogs, that's the paradise.
But the only do's you have to do is what Watchtower wants.
That's exactly right. But it's never
You don't have your own. It's not what you want. It's what Watchtower wants.
It's what Watchtower wants. But see, they always couch it as these things that are being prohibited. They come from Jehovah. So they'll go snatch a scripture out of the Bible and they'll twist it. And like I tell people all the time, you can take the Bible and you can play it like an instrument. You can find a verse to almost back up any kind of teaching that you want. And this is what they do. And then now what Watchtower is doing, and this is the problem with the young ones in the organization. They can't put what's going on right now in Watchtower in context. Those of us that's been around 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, especially if you're born ends or lucky like myself, we are now seeing that Watchtower has done about just about every teaching that they've ever had. The ones that are only 20 years old, a teenager, they can't see it. They don't see the context of everything that Watchtower has taught. They're doing a 181, and therefore it was never right to begin with. So they can't see it. So this is all new to them, and they're kind of hearing it for the first time, and they believe, whatever it is. This is what's also waking up a lot of people. They're sitting back thinking, just like Marie said, hey, wait a minute. Yesterday we couldn't do any of this. Now all of a sudden it's okay. And it's not that we're talking about big things. I mean, what is thinking glasses making a toast in the grand scheme of things? Absolutely nothing. That's not the point. The point is, if you were an elder and you did this, you could have been removed this note. If you decided, hey, I don't want to shave my beard. I think I look, rather dapper with my beard. Well, guess what? You can't serve as a ministerial servant. If you're a pioneer and you don't want to, whatever, you get. So all these things that we were so harshly judged and criticized over, now all of a sudden it's nothing. And people are just slick. But the older ones, they're putting this in context, and they know this organization is just flip-flopping on their teachings. None of this is coming from God. This is all from the human beings. And so that now they can make the decision for you. So there is no paradigm.
I have another question.
Yeah.
But I have another question, though. Okay. All the stuff that you used to get disfellowshipped for, now you're able to do it. What happens to those ones who are disfellowshipped from doing those things, but now you can do them? Do they get undisfellowshipped because now you can do them now?
I would say that if they are still, if they're still an active witness, they probably have been reinstated. There is no apology or something that went out that said, hey, we know yesterday you got a disfellowship for blah, blah, blah. Now we don't do that anymore. We're sorry. So they don't get that. Now, if they're outside,
I mean, imagine this.
Sorry, Stefan, go
Imagine
ahead.
you make
I want to add something. I want to add something. A caller, because I had asked that question before, because that was a huge thing for me. And a caller said, they will not be reinstated or apologized to because they went against theocratic organization. Theocratic organization.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's what goes in my head as well. So it's the disobedience to the current truth.
Yes.
The disobedience to the leadership. And this is all ties up with what Don Cameron said in Captives of a Concept, and my favorite one, Carl Olaf Johnson, and Ure Francis, these pillar giants who stood up and addressed the core central thing, which is the faithful and discreet slave. That concept, that was the lie, that's the only lie we can feel a bit frustrated with ourselves for believing. Once we buy that lie, every decision and every thought after that is tainted by the concept that no matter how irrational, as they say in their own talks, doesn't matter how silly it may sound from a human standpoint, you follow the faithful and discreet slave, because they elevated themselves above Christ. They've elevated themselves above any human authority.
Yes,
so they can decide. They can decide what if 2 + 2 is 4 today. They can say 2 + 2 is 5 tomorrow, just like 1984, the film.
Yeah.
So it's not about it's not about whether it's logical or not. Today we're telling you that 2 + 2 is 5, and if you don't agree with that, you're going to be in big trouble. And that's the reason why once a person, that's why we bought into the light. That's the only lie that I feel like I was hoodwinked into and accepted because of my ignorance in the facts of the Bible and historical facts and historical accuracy. That's on me. But I was young. If you're born in it, you've got no chance. You don't even have a chance.
If you're born in it, you're so right. That's what
So I respect, if you've had 10 or 15 years, I respect those who have woken up. That's why I have an extra special sprinkling of respect and adoration for those who were born in it, from their waking moments, from their understanding of language, from saying mummy and daddy for the first time, that all they've ever known is Jehovah, Armageddon, favorite slave, governing body. How do you deconstruct that and understand reality outside of that? Because I was 15, 16 when my mum started studying. I got baptized really quickly, but I had good part of my early teens, all of my childhood, completely free from understanding any of this tainting over my head. The thing I was fearful of is nuclear war in the 80s, where Reagan and Gorbachev were the propaganda on the news, Russia and America pointing missiles at each other. That was, we used to say at school, wow, is it worth going into doing our higher education because, you could big flash in the sky and that's it. So that's what we were a bit worried about, but not to the level of Armageddon, and so that's too much. But that's really, to answer that Paula's question as well, that's really the concept. We're captive to the concept that they are the faithful and slave. So for me, I'm so grateful that Carl Olaf Johnson and those brothers had the courage to stand up, and that's why they hate them so much. That's why the only mechanism they have is to guilt the rank and file into not checking. That's the only thing they have, because the internet is too vast and too uncontrollable. So they have to fear you into not keep taking a peek. Don't peek there, your head's going to fall off. If you peek there, don't look behind that, don't look in there, don't press that button, don't check that. Why? Because they know once you do, it's game over, Watchtower. So, and the young, as you said, Stefan, the young ones, they don't play by those rules anymore. They don't play by those rules. Their faces are in TikTok all day long. So they're going to come across things that are going to... So the younger generation may have a chance still. Yeah,
I hope so. And there was two things that you just jumped out at me. I remember reading, I believe it was in Brother France in Christ Jesus Conscience, and he said that there's three types of truths in Jehovah's Witness organization. There's past truth, what they taught in the past as truth from the very mouth of God. There's present truth, what we're teaching right now, and then there's future truth. Now, if you can wrap your head around that kind of nonsense, then you can understand how this organization presents itself. Past truth, but this is the current or present truth. But there can always be a change, and you just go right along with it. It's completely insane. If you talk to a person who's never been in a cult, they would think you have lost your damn mind, but that is the reality. And so for a lot of us, we're seeing that the current truth is a 180 from the past truth, and people are walking away from it. But I like and my brother just said, Maverick, I really hope because these young ones are digital natives that they'll stumble upon things on the internet or maybe their colleagues that are just undeniable and wake up and walk away from this craziness. You can clearly see that they are trying to position themselves for the future. They don't even believe the shit that excuse my French, the stuff that they're teaching. They don't believe there's going to be an army. If you believe that Armageddon was coming, it's right around the corner. You can almost touch it, smell it, taste it. Would you spend, I think it was $500 million to build this, whatever this is that they want to build to shoot stupid videos? Would you do that? No. If you believe that Armageddon was right around the corner, you would not spend $500 million trying to build some new thing. You would just stay
that
right
was a red
where
flag for me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was a red flag for me.
You would stay right where you are, and you would just hold on tight and deal with whatever you got to deal with. Because hey, Armageddon is around the corner. Why would we do that? But instead, this is what they're trying to do. They don't even believe the stuff that they are teaching.
Hi, excuse me. I just wanted to take a moment to ask our brother Rick how we're doing on time.
Well, Anne-Marie, we got to get wrapping up here. I'd say give us 5 minutes, and then we're going to go to Dick Boogie. Be coming on here tonight, so we got to take 5 minutes and wrap it on up. Yep.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much. Okay, folks, I did not want to interrupt this very interesting dialogue. So we have about 4.5 minutes. Everybody, please feel free to give your closing thoughts. So we need to wrap it up. Anybody want to give their closing thoughts? Please feel free.
I want to thank y'all for what you've been saying about this. I love what y'all have been saying. Was that Stephen that was talking or whatever he said? I compliment him. And you too. It's great to have you back with us and about this. It's more like it is true that this cult is like exactly like the Taliban.
That's a good way to put it. You're right, Dallas.
Spiritual terrorists.
Yep. Spiritual terrorists.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like Afghanistan has become, which it wasn't always like that at one time in history, what it's become under their Taliban, that it's scary for the innocent population there.
so true. So true.
And
I would like to just say one last thing, and this is going back to something that Nicole said, and I'm so grateful that she called in. She just dropped lots of gems this evening that people need to go back and listen to. But one of the things that she said is that she started teaching herself hobbies. And so the point that I want to go back to is if you've left this organization, especially if you're an older person, and maybe you don't have family, you're not married, kids, or they're not in your life, and you find yourself saying, okay, what do I do with myself? That's one of the things you can do. Go back into your childhood. Ask yourself, what kinds of things did you like when you were a kid? And maybe you never got an opportunity to study or pursue because of Watchtower. And then go ahead and do those things. Now, it might be too late for me to go start playing football in the National Football League, but I can still go out and play ball. I taught myself woodworking even before COVID. And so what the point I'm making is what Nicole said. So like, go back in your childhood, look at the things that you would have liked to do, maybe would have liked to try your hand at, couldn't for whatever reason, and go and try to do those things now and find joy and find peace, serenity, and purpose in your life.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Isn't that similar to, isn't that the same as what the proverb said? All that your hands find to do with your very power.
that's like this is in the
I could never understand. Yeah, I could never understand that. That's the principles would say, all that your hands find to do with your very power, right? And then they would say, don't do anything, wait till the new system. It never made any sense to me when I used to read that. I play music. I never subscribed to that because I had enough of my own mind and personality before I came into the organization to say, you can't stop me from playing the guitar or learning something that I want to learn. What's that? But the thing that for me, the thing was, the statement that got me was, do not use this world to the full. That statement, that's the one that got me.
Right.
Okay, I've got all these skills and talents. So what? I don't need to do any of it. That, I'll just do the very bare minimum and not really capitalize on my talents, that God-given talents, if you want to use that word. But so as for the young people that are growing, don't be fearful of pursuing your talents, as you said, Stefan. Very, very, very good points you make. And grow. Nicole said that too.
Don't use the world to the full, and then you find out that Watchtower is worth $7 billion. If that doesn't show you how much he has been lied to, I don't know what else will.
Let her fall off the couch. That's the most important thing. Okay, I think we probably, guys. Okay, one final thought.
Sorry. I was going to say, Watchtower are not worthy of $100 webcam for their videos. They're not even worthy of that. They don't even, let alone their multi-billion-dollar studio. They couldn't even have $100 web camera be worthy of the value that they put on their product. Anyway, thanks a lot.
They do nothing for no one and call themselves a Christian organization. Unreal. Thanks, Emery.
Thank you guys so much. We really do need to wrap up the show. I want to thank everyone who called in and participated, and also those who listened in. We want to thank Rick and Grow and Stephen and Dallas. And we just had some interesting conversations, and I think that, like I always say, whatever needs to be said, I think will be said. So now we need to go to Rick and Dixon Conson's show. And anybody have one final word that takes 10 seconds or less? Alrighty then, I want to thank you all. Again, today is July 26, 2025. This is the show Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower. And we're going to go over to Rick. Thank all of you guys.
Well, very good, Anne-Marie. Thank you very much for coming on today. My goodness gracious, we had a lot of people coming in tonight on our radio network. That's our telephone line. Thank you for coming in and being with Anne-Marie and those that did the little chat. That was fine. People love to hear you guys talking all about your trek in the Watchtower. Well, anyways, we've got Dick Borgie coming up next right here on the 6 screens. I don't think Constance is with him tonight, but we'll see what happens. So we got Dick coming up next right here. So don't go anywhere. Stay on this channel. And we've got some great programming coming up tonight. I wanted to mention JW World News coming on somewhere around 8:30 tonight. You want to make sure you listen in. We're going to give you the latest updates on the Still Alive in 2025 convention. And plus, we have a man coming on that's going to participate in our program Saturday night at the convention. We have a program called Apostates Got Talent. And boy, do we have a talented singer, a rockabilly singer coming in sound just like Elvis Presley. He'll be coming on tonight. We're going to talk to him and interview him. He grew up as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and of course his talent was stifled in the Watchtower. And well, Frank's coming on tonight. We're going to see his video clip, the music he sings. He's really good. So make sure you come into JW World News tonight. That, of course, is after the Connie and Dick program. So we're going to end it there and go over to the next studio. So hang in, stay with us. Don't go anywhere.